You were exploited. Staying at home killed more people than COVID ever did, mainly from suicide. This was a very abusive and incredibly cruel thing to do to 8 billion people on the planet. It was not for your safety. In prison, people are tortured this way, and actually the prison model was used. The lockdown was disgusting, encouraging people to stare at a fear-mongering television that was full of lies and confused people. So the topic for today is going to be on focus and how isolation makes you lose focus and direction in your life. I'm going to summarize the points. The whole video is going to be summarized in 3 minutes. If you have time after those 3 minutes, I'm going to add more information. So feel free to see how much time you have during this video. Okay, diving into 4 points in the first 3 minutes. So point number 1 on focus and how isolation makes you lose your focus. So there was a professor of neuroscience called Richard J. Smine. Okay, so this was from the Thomas and Jefferson University, and he did a study on mice, and after 1 month of isolation, he found that the brain shrank. So putting people in solitary confinement causes physical long-term damage. In fact, no contact with people causes severe psychiatric conditions to human beings. Psychopathy, manic depression, extreme distress, which causes long-term health problems, and 8 billion people were forced to suffer in this way. Point number 2 on focus and how isolation can make you completely lose your focus and direction. People are conditioned to believe in the lone wolf idea, and there's millions of videos about how being alone is really good for you. It is not. This is an abusive thing to do to yourself. The elite tend to do this and they become mentally ill and sick, and actually abusive people do this to their partners because when you isolate someone, it's easier to mold them and they become in a much weaker state. Point number 3. This links in very nicely with individualism. Okay, individualism kills the soul. Now, Dr. Martin Seligman found that 50 to 100 years ago, life was completely different. Okay, there was much less depression within people because it was a very community-based atmosphere. There was a strong family unit, the presence of God was there, and there was no such thing as this whole casual relationships idea. Okay, as you know, this has completely changed. Individualism, keeping yourself to yourself, thinking just of yourself, actually causes not only depression, okay, but actually can cause a lot of mental health problems in people. And finally, point number 4, famous people who isolated themselves and ruined themselves were people like Einstein, who had 4 nervous breakdowns from doing so, and Bill Gates, who from this action of isolating himself became the most evil man on the planet through his think tank weeks and all the other bits of isolation that he did. Okay, so about 3 minutes, okay, just over 3 minutes. Now, if you have time, please do feel free to continue watching because I'm going to share more information on this, and I really do hope that this is something you can take away because it's so important. Feel free to subscribe, to like, so you can get more valuable content from the channel. Okay, so point number 5, isolation makes you much weaker. Okay, so think about it. Why did they do this to human beings? You're much easier to control. Okay, the idea behind COVID was the whole idea of you being like a caged animal. Now, they tell you it's better, if you can, to not eat from caged animals. So there's a lot of information about this, but humans were treated like caged animals. And eating from a cage animal is very poisonous for the body. So it's disgusting what was done to people. Now, what tends to happen is when you're isolated, your brain goes into like a sleep-like hypnotic state. So any information you listen to, whether it's from the media or whether it's from anything you're reading, okay, it's going to enter your subconscious mind and you're going to become conditioned. You're easier to brainwash at that point, and it's confusing as well. So what is the solution? Okay, so I'm now going to delve into things that can be done. I'm also going to share more factual information with you as well. So there's going to be a little bit of a mix going on here. So point number 6. It's really important to mix with like-minded people, okay? Because this is going to help you to focus and help you to have a richer and more meaningful life. Now, Bob Marley, he said that everyone is going to hurt you. Now, that's life, okay? Unfortunately, people have gone through horrific things in their life. I completely understand that. Okay, and a lot of people have had bad experiences, okay? Pain is inevitable. So Bob Marley came up with a quote which he said, everyone is going to hurt you. So what you have to do is you have to choose who's worth fighting for. Now, we all go through bad experiences, okay? And this is where you have a choice. So people may feel like they've been taken advantage of, and sometimes it's very natural to go inward. You don't want to talk to people anymore. You may prefer, you might start thinking, I'm not happy with human beings. I prefer animals instead. It's very normal to feel this way, okay? And you start to look at the world in a very negative way. Now, there is good news, okay? Good people do exist, and we've all met them. So it really depends how you choose to deal with the experience that you go through, because you're more likely to become in a higher vibrational frequency. Okay, and I've discussed this in other videos. Okay, you want to try to vibrate at as much higher level as you possibly can. If you're vibrating at a lower level, sickness tends to occur. So what you do is you vibrate higher by focusing on the good people, okay, because it makes you feel better within yourself, and also forgiveness, okay, and you're doing this for yourself, okay, so if you forgive, what you're actually doing is you're allowing yourself to restore your health to its absolute max. So remember to surround yourself with people who lift you up, and try and avoid people who drag you down. If people do drag you down, know that it's because you're above them. Okay, so and this will help you also to come out of the rut of COVID and this like hermit-like mode that a lot of people are currently finding themselves into. This is a very important point, okay? So point number 9 is I actually think it's quite scary on how much information is wrong out there, because I mentioned the whole being conditioned, being brainwashed through the media and through society. When you hear information, okay, that's you're not used to hearing. So say, for example, you now believe, okay, something, okay? So you actually believe that it's for your safety to isolate yourself. The normal reaction that you're going to go through when someone tells you otherwise, your body is going to go through various stages, okay? And this tends to happen, and it's happened throughout history, when people share the truth about what's really happening in the world. So the first thing that tends to happen is you go through anger. So your body will go through a lot of anger. You may actually even think it's funny, so you might snigger or laugh at the information. Okay, this is very normal, okay? It's a stage that the human goes through. You may then really oppose the idea because you've been brainwashed to think a certain way. We all have, by the way, okay? Then what tends to happen is you then very slowly come out the conditioning and you accept the new idea, or you accept the truth that's being revealed. Now, the 10th point that I want to mention here is there's a lot of trolls on the internet, okay, who are put on the internet to further confuse people. Now, because of COVID, a lot of people are doing everything online. So these people are being paid, okay, to share false information, okay, and that's actually their job to do so. So what they're doing is they are writing information. They call them internet trolls, and this is only just spreading more and more nonsense. If I'm going to be honest, celebrities were getting paid to promote nonsense as well, and to encourage behaviour that's not in your best interest. Now, I want to further challenge labels that are being put out there as well about the whole introvert, extrovert idea, and also on sort of challenging this label. You know, when we speak about like people being reserved, people being introverted, I tend to wonder actually if this is to do with pain that someone's feeling, or lifestyle, or a lack of vitamin D, because most people spent majority of their time at home over the last few years. Or in the lifestyle that we've all led. I mean, it's not normal what people went through. This causes introversion, okay? I'm just putting it out there, okay? I could be wrong, but I'm putting it out there because it creates unnatural behavior in human beings. Human beings are supposed to be social. They're supposed to want to connect with people. So if you're thinking, I don't want to connect with someone, I want to keep myself to myself, it's not healthy, okay? It's healthy to want to, when you meet someone, for the barriers to come down and for you to have a connection. And I want to briefly talk about this because if your heart chakra is open, okay, then you're able to connect with another human being. If it's blocked, then a lack of connection will take place. And I dare say, I think that people with blocked heart chakras, which I'm going to talk about more in other videos, are the ones that are causing the most destruction on the planet because they're in pain and suffering. Because their heart chakra is blocked, they're not connecting, and they're unable to connect with other human beings. And so there's a lack taking place from within their body, and they're feeling this lack, and they perhaps feel the best way forward is to inflict suffering on 8 billion people on the planet. Okay? I want to summarize this by saying that life is going to flash you by. So the decision of when you die, okay, is not really based on a human being, okay, deciding. That's actually the decision of God, okay? So we need to get our power back as people. So history tells us that there is hope. Don't be afraid to speak out, okay? Don't be afraid to share the truth. There's absolutely nothing to fear. And I think that 99% of the population need to wake up to the truth. And that's the reason why I'm doing this video. I think it's high time now. Restrictions have been lifted and people are still afraid. It's time to wake up to what's really happening in the world. Spread this message, subscribe, like, and please, let's really understand the truth about what's happening on the planet. I wish you the very, very best. Thank you.